The stories shared on the Busy Baddies are submitted by real listeners and are intended for entertainment and discussion purposes only. To protect the privacy of everyone involved, all names, companies, and identifying details have been changed or omitted. Any resemblance to real people or events are purely coincidental. We believe in keeping it real while keeping it respectful. Thank you for sharing your experiences and for trusting us to spill the tea with care.
When the lights go low and the real work begins, this is the Busy Baddies.
Where assistants come uncensored, the stories get spicy, and the corporate filter, Control Alt Delete.
I'm Michelle, EA to the CEO of a Fortune 150 company.
And I'm Mel, former C Suite EA turned admin rebel.
And we're here to talk about the real stuff, the stories that never make it to the all hands meeting. Hey, baddies. I am really excited to talk about this topic because it's probably one of the most critical things in our job, and that's confidentiality.
Yep, agreed.
It's also something that I think can get EAs in trouble.
Ooh.
I think it can ruin relationships and break trust.
Absolutely.
So let's get into it.
Yeah. So, what does confidentiality really mean? I think for everybody, it should have the same definition, but maybe it
Absolutely.
doesn't.
Right. Well, that's a great place to start.
Yeah.
So when I would imagine all of us have interviewed or doing interviews or starting to interview, confidentiality is going to be the top thing on the list.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably going to get asked questions in your interview of, whether it's give me examples of how you've held confidentiality, but it is a giant,
It's a deal breaker.
yeah.
I mean, it is. And I think it's just based on the access that we have, not only to their stuff per se at work, like your email, your calendar,
Yeah.
your financials, if they're a
Mhm.
top tier leader, you can sometimes get into performance management, which means what every person that reports to them makes is a salary. I mean, there's a million different ways that
Yeah.
that can go horribly wrong in the wrong hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's the key to the success of the role, I think,
Yes, absolutely.
of being able
Hmm.
to know that you have access to all of this and you can be
Hmm.
trusted with it.
Yeah, and it's a non-optional. Like you said, I think that is the number one thing that will either gain credibility or lose credibility anywhere as far as a role. Because if they don't have confidence that you are holding things close to the vest, that's career suicide, in my
Oh,
opinion.
no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I mean, and we have talked about this on a previous episode about the vulnerability
Hmm.
of, you know, the leaders you support that,
Hmm.
they kind of have to let that guard down
Hmm.
of being vulnerable to even allow you access
Hmm.
to everything.
Absolutely.
And if they feel at any point, if it's in danger with you,
Hmm.
I mean, hasta la vista, baby.
Yeah, you're cut off. I
Yeah.
mean, and I think that's the tough part is, you have to look at it as, how what is the detriment of me repeating this? Like having the internal dialogue in your brain of because everybody loves having the juice and the tea
Oh,
and the
And we
the
have the juiciest of the juice.
yes, and knowing that it is hard as a human being to not want to just spill that to someone.
Yeah.
But to have that internal check of, okay, what is the ramifications if I share this information? What could happen? How could this ricochet?
Yeah.
Um, so I think having the know-how of, let me just stop and think about what this means if I share this
Yeah.
with the wrong person. And really, if you have to ask yourself that question,
Yeah, I was just going to say if anybody's listening that
yeah,
had seriously thought what you just said, I mean,
don't repeat it.
well, and I would say that you may be in the wrong
Hmm.
career
Yes.
because it's already understood that you should not tell anybody anything of what you're going to see.
Yeah, which kind of it makes me chuckle because it makes me think of not long after I started. It was during COVID, and we were all on a Zoom call, just checking in with each other as a team. And one of the EAs, we were laughing because she said, "Do you guys ever check like the restricted confidential emails?" And we were like, no, like some of us were like, no. And then like she goes, really? She's like, that's the first one that I opened. And it makes me laugh because I'm like, that is the difference between, yes, you open it, but it is restricted confidential for a reason.
Right.
Those are the ones that you stay away with at all costs because knowing is not necessarily worth the squeeze,
Oh,
right?
for sure. And for some of the companies out there, I mean, if it's marked restricted confidential, I mean, we could be talking about things that could end up in court.
Yes.
And I don't know about you, but I don't want to go to court.
No, because here's the thing, with all the access and the digital trails that we have nowadays, there is not anything that cannot be called into question because once it is out there,
Mhm.
it is discoverable.
For sure.
And if anything, if you ever see a legal thing that says discoverables and anything that you're attached to, you can be called into question, like you said.
Yeah, no thanks.
No, I'm out. And there's a lot of times that we see things that, you know, you just you don't share anyway because the downside of it is far greater than there's a reason behind even to go back to the pay thing. Different leaders are going to make different salaries, but there's reasons behind that that you don't understand as the EA.
Hmm.
All you see is the inequity, right?
Right.
And you think, man, but I know X person works really hard. I'm surprised they make so much less than so and so who really is lazy and doesn't do much and doesn't carry their weight on the team. And, so I think you have to have the context around some confident things as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So even in the realms of confidentiality, I
Hmm.
think that ties very close even into gossiping,
Yes.
and getting caught in to probably just a lot of it is work
Hmm.
chatter that you don't even realize is happening. You work close with your EA
Immediate team.
team.
Hmm.
Yeah. And you have to be really mindful of even just normal day-to-day work chat
Hmm.
because everything at that level, I mean, you just can't be sure. And even if it's not marked confidential,
Hmm.
probably still is, could be. I mean,
Yeah.
and gossiping and sharing just even like something you got something and you just really it annoyed you, right?
Hmm.
And then it just turns into what you think is easy venting
Right.
of, chatting with your coworker that sits behind you or wherever you are in the office and that could turn into disaster.
100% because all it takes is them to repeat that to their leader, and that it spreads like wildfire,
Oh,
because
yeah.
then that leader could go back to that other person's boss and say, "Hey, I don't appreciate they were talking about X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Like, I thought that that was just, for us to know." I mean, yeah, loose lips sink ships. It is the bottom line. The tighter that you can keep it, and I think especially for the C-suite level, which I know that you have probably experienced this. I have as well when I have supported CEOs. There's people who will intentionally try to get close to you in order to think that that's going to give them a shoe in on hot breaking news,
Yeah.
you
Like
know?
trying to get into the inner circle.
Right. Like they're like Dan Rather salivating on a hot news story,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And you can smell those people from a mile away.
A mile away.
Yes.
Don't bring your inauthentic self
Yes.
to me because trust me, we see right through it.
Yes, because our job is emotional intelligence. We are human, we're like sniff dogs. Like
Yeah.
we are like canines. We
Yeah.
can sniff out the BS from a mile away. We know when you're trying to gain access to information. And I personally, I love with those people to plant false seeds.
And see where they
So,
go.
yes.
Shady. I like it.
Yes, and then they look like the idiot, right?
Right.
They're the village idiot, which is exactly what I want, because I'm like, if you're stupid enough to want access to information that you know I'm not gonna
Yeah.
share, I'm gonna give you some stupid shit to share out there, and then when it doesn't come to pass, everybody's gonna be like, "I
Yeah.
thought that you said
Yeah.
so and so told you." Like, so I encourage you, if you have those trolls in your office,
Yeah.
share shady, stupid crap with them and just plant the seed so that it kills that spirit inside of them of
And,
being.
and hopefully they would learn from it.
I would hope. I don't know. I have had a lot of them that have not, but
Yeah.
they just keep coming back for more,
Yeah.
So I one time at one job I did, kindly suggest that this person become a communications or a journalist in some way, shape, or form, because
They were getting so good at it.
yes, I'm like, you love to just dig for information so
Yeah.
that you can make a story out of it.
Yeah. I think the star is hiring.
Like, Lord have mercy. Like,
Yeah.
get another job.
Yeah. And for those of our listeners that maybe have
Mhm.
found themselves in that spot,
Yeah.
can you please stop?
Yeah.
You know, me telling you maybe one item is not worth me losing my job.
No.
Like, don't come at us and say, hey, do you know blah, blah, blah? Because 99% of the time, we do know that.
Mhm. Yeah.
But why do you think you deserve or, have the entitlement to know that? And what really irks me
Yeah.
is the disrespect that they have to put me in that
Mhm.
position.
That's exactly right.
Why would you come and ask me and put me in that position to tell you to
Mhm.
pound sand,
Yep.
but knowing I have to do it in a way that, I can be proud of,
Mhm.
it is just really annoying.
It is. And I think what a lot of those people don't understand is that's there's real consequences of
Yeah.
breaking confidentiality. And I experienced that with a person that I supported. They had such deep-rooted trust issues. I don't know where it came from. I never gave them a reason not to, but it was a hard line for them, and they even spoke it not long after I started with them of, "You can't have friends here.
Yeah.
If I see you making friends with people, I will fire you."
Wow.
Because to them, they knew that what I had access to was going to be so detrimental to them and or the company. It really freaked them out.
Mm.
And there was another company that I worked at for two gentlemen, who had had an EA before that I don't know if she knew them in a previous life, if she was on a vendetta trip for someone that she knew, but she got recruited in and a year and a half later had, completely used so much information against them, made copies of things, took it to the CEO to try to get them
Yeah.
both fired. So when I came in, I think that's another great side of it is if you're working for someone who has had that confidentiality broken,
Mhm.
that is a very hard bridge to gap because once that's broke, they're kind of like they're very leery of
Yeah.
anyone ever again, no matter how hard you try.
Yeah.
And understandable.
No, no doubt. Um, and for me, I remember a time. This was years ago in a whole different role. And it was actually with somebody that I would have
Mm,
called an extremely good friend.
mhm,
They were on the team, and I remember them approaching me and asking, whatever the question was for whatever the information was.
yep.
And it hurt me more than
Well,
anything
sure.
because, again, it was something that I know that they knew that I knew.
Mhm.
But to have somebody that I actually felt was
Yeah.
a friend
Yep.
ask me something
Yep.
that they know I couldn't share
Mm-mm.
was really hurtful.
No, and it also causes relationship issues for you at work because then you start to question, is there anybody who really wants to be my friend?
Yeah.
Am I safe talking to anybody? Which is again goes back to a few episodes ago where we talked about it's lonely being at the top, and it's
Yeah.
because of people like that that create that environment,
Right.
you know. And again, on the ramifications of confidentiality being broken, it can even go to the far extreme of putting your stakeholder in extreme danger.
Yeah.
Tying back to, gosh, when was that? Earlier this year, maybe? I want to say it was wintertime, but when the United Healthcare CEO
Yeah.
was shot down in New York City,
Mhm.
I remember it was like a light bulb went off in my head, and I thought, man, have I ever shared an itinerary with someone who maliciously may know where my stakeholder is and would want to
Mhm.
do harm to them?
Yeah.
Is there anything on our publicly traded company website that could put leaders in harm? Because you have to think in the back of your head, at least I did from the EA lens, somebody knew he was going to be at that exact place at that exact time, and that put him into harm.
Yeah.
Whose fault was it? I'm not saying it was the EA, but I'm saying even something as innocent as saying, "Oh, my leader's in, California this week at, X
Yeah.
conference." All it takes is them to know someone who's an ex disgruntled employee and them know someone in California who can go take care of it, so to speak, in parentheses, right?
Mhm.
It's harmful.
Yeah, and I think as EAs and even as, company stakeholders, that incident changed everything
As it should have.
for us. I
Mhm.
mean, we started questioning everything.
Yep.
What do we share now?
Yep.
What do we absolutely need to not share?
Yep.
And a lot of that stuff, I mean, you'd like to think information is safe
Mm-mm.
internally.
No.
And as EAs, I know for my job, it's hard, and a lot of us probably feel this way is when you're getting asked for time
Mhm.
for your leaders,
Yeah.
and most of us, I think, are mindful not to just be a jerk and say nope, they're not available.
Yeah.
We feel like we have to
Mhm.
overshare
Or
or
explain.
explain
Mhm.
because if we just say no, we're a jerk.
Mhm.
That must just mean the leader doesn't care or want to
Mhm.
do whatever it is that you're asking for. And so it was very normal
Mhm.
to over explain of,
Sure.
can't do this because they're
Mhm.
here and there,
Yep.
and I think, unfortunately, that's given us a little more grace
Mhm.
with our answers and the approval that it's okay to be vague
Sure.
and
Yeah.
why we should be vague.
Yeah, it's okay to say, "No, they're out of town." Period.
Yeah.
You don't need to tell them where they're at. You don't
Yeah.
need to say it's a different time zone.
How long
No,
they're
just
gonna, yeah.
say, "They're unavailable, they're traveling,
Yeah.
I can't do anything from this date to this date."
Yeah.
But I think that you're right. I think that that forever changed a lot of the mindset, at least for the EAs and the people that are the gatekeepers to that information, because it goes to show that, you know, these people, as we've said a million times before in episodes, they're real human beings
Yeah.
with real families, with children, with spouses, with, great responsibility at home. And had that information for that gentleman not been public or shared and got in the wrong hands,
Yeah.
he still could be here today.
Yeah.
What a tragedy.
Yeah. So let's get into how to keep it tight.
Mhm.
Maybe some best practices, if you will.
Great idea.
So pause before sharing.
Mhm.
Think to yourself, does this person really need to know the information they're asking me?
Yeah. Yeah. Are they a person who can keep it confidential? Is it something that I even should be sharing?
Yeah.
Kinda going back to
Do
what
they
we've
need
said
to know
before.
it?
Yeah. Yeah, is it, and if, to me, again, it goes back to, if I have to ask myself, "Should I be sharing this?" You already know the answer if
Yeah.
you have to question that, in
Yeah.
my opinion. I think also one thing for me would be to be very mindful of what you share at work or about work,
Hmm.
because what could be perceived as innocent, even if you're out to dinner with friends, they may know someone who works at the company
Yeah.
that you work for, because obviously they know where you work.
Hmm.
And that could inadvertently begin a game of telephone where, "Oh, I was out to friend with, out to dinner with my friend the other night, and she said that, X company is, really going to have great bonuses this year." And they they inadvertently repeat that 3 or 4 dinners later with a friend who
Yeah.
used to work at that company, like sabotage. It could
Yeah.
be so bad.
Yeah. And I'll say I remember a time we were in our work cafeteria. We were sitting around. It was a group of admins, and we weren't even talking about anything
Yeah.
confidential. It was literally just admin
Mhm.
work talk,
Yep.
and that was kind of like an eavesdropping
Mhm.
situation
Yep.
of, we were being loud,
Yeah.
and even just doing that um could be perceived a certain way.
Absolutely.
And so I would also say, just be careful
Mhm.
of even just very insignificant, just
Innocent.
innocent fun.
Yep.
I mean, we were laughing and it really was innocent,
Sure.
but it was perceived quite the opposite.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to, the episode where we touched on, alone at the top and the power of team, because you have to look at it through the lens of, not everyone is wanting to see you succeed.
Mhm.
An innocent conversation can be twisted and turned, and then it's your word against that other
Yeah,
person, because the bottom line is some people are just going to have it out for you.
right.
Some people are not gonna
Sadly.
like you. Some people are gonna wanna tear you down, they're gonna wanna get you fired, they're gonna wanna ruin your credibility, and what better way to do it than for you to arm them with information or misinformation that they take, like you said, in an honest, just eavesdropping situation, turn it against you, and then, like I said, how do you defend that? It's
Yeah,
them saying something against you, and yes, it could be 80% true, but, I mean, again, I
yeah.
just avoid it.
So one thing we can also do, which I think is very easy, and I'd like to think a no-brainer, but that's protecting digital confidentiality.
Oh, good call out.
Don't walk away from your desk
Mhm.
without locking your computer.
Yep.
I remember a day when we couldn't take our
Mhm.
laptops home
Yep.
and they were locked
Yep.
to our desk.
Yep.
I mean, you want to be very careful of that control,
Mhm.
because if somebody could get into your laptop and their intent is bad.
Sure.
So yeah, make
Yeah, and
sure
even
we're
your
doing
cell
that.
phones. Don't leave your
Yeah,
cell phones unattended, right?
yeah.
Like, I'm a super hyper aware person of my cell phone, both personally and work. And I'm an iPhone user, so I love the capability that you have to turn Face ID on certain
Mhm.
apps. So I can't even open my email unless it Face IDs first.
Yeah.
So, maybe put security
Yeah.
protocols like that in place where if you do step away or forget to lock your phone, if somebody obviously isn't going to have the same face as you,
Right.
you know, it does make it helpful. But think about that lens of it's innocent. If somebody's peering over your shoulder on Teams
Yeah.
and you're having a confidential conversation, people love juicy shit. They
Yeah.
love to read what you're typing to someone, whether you want them to or not,
Right.
you know?
Privacy screens. Yeah.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I think the last thing for me would be just know the room.
Yeah.
Know the people that you're having conversations with. Are they safe? Have you worked with them for several years? Have you shared stuff with them and they've never repeated it? Obviously you wouldn't, make banter or other side conversations if it was a room full of executives. So just know the room.
Yeah. Real easy.
Yeah. So, kind of flipping the script, how how can confidentiality build power and confidence? Like I feel like there's a way that that could work, but
Mhm.
just getting into that I think may be helpful too.
I mean, maybe this isn't popular opinion, but I mean, let's just be real.
Mhm.
It's pretty cool to know the items and the
Mhm.
information that you have access
Mhm.
to.
Yep.
That is a very distinguished, I don't want to say a perk of the job, because it's
Right.
it's not, but that's an honest to God
Mhm.
item that we hold.
Yep.
So I think it's knowing that you can show your leader that you can be trusted
Mhm.
with that information.
Yep. I agree with you. Absolutely. And there was a quote that I heard a long time ago that says the less you leak, the more access you keep.
Ooh.
So I think, wisdom, I think holding on to that stuff not only creates confidence in your leader, but then they in turn start sharing more deeper, even higher level confidentiality stuff because they see, wow, you're somebody that I can trust. Like
Mhm.
you're going to protect me at all costs.
Yeah.
And I am a person who am a big believer that when you start out with a stakeholder, that you create a document of expectations.
Mhm.
And those expectations should be what you expect from the leader that you serve and what I expect from you as a leader.
Mhm.
And one of my non negotiables is for them, I will always have your back. I will be your biggest champion and
Yeah.
I will be your secret keeper from till the day that I die.
Yeah.
And I think that you could interview anybody that I have ever worked for and they could say, yes, unequivocally, I know that she did not share information that she could have had that was salacious or, you know, hot at the time and could have,
Yeah.
really made her popular in the thing. But the reality is the only thing that you gain by sharing super secret stuff and confidential information is popularity. And you're at work to get a paycheck, not to make friends,
Yeah.
and I think that's where it gets lost in translation. If you're trying to be the cool kid who knows everything, you're in the wrong field,
Yeah. Absolutely.
you know. So I think that's another big one. But just write that quote down. The less you leak, the more access you keep.
Yeah. And I think that goes into, being a vault.
Mhm.
Just know that everything, not everything obviously, but you know everything that's getting shared with you,
Mhm.
your leader is expecting that it's not going to go anywhere.
It's a privilege.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one last thing for me is, what you may not realize that is being shared with you that's confidential also makes you indispensable.
Yeah.
Because if you are a person that someone can trust, and maybe even they've had trust issues in the past and they've never voiced that to you, you could be slowly chipping away at a wall that they had built and never really thought that they would share stuff again with
Yeah.
someone. So it really only is going to make you greater at your job in
Yeah.
the end.
Okay, baddies, it's tea
Tea time.
time. We're going to do a little something different.
Yes, we're going to go to the Loose Lips Hall of Fame this week. So we have had some people submit stories that are, I would not even call them stories, I would say disasters.
Well, and not only that, I think you and I are probably guilty of
Yes,
certainly these, and certainly all of you listeners out there
yes, very
are
relatable.
very, very
Yes.
relatable. All right, so let's start with the email forward fail scenario. An executive's private feedback about a department's performance accidentally got forwarded to the whole company.
Womp, womp, womp.
Ooh. Whew. Funny twist. People responded with memes and GIFs before realizing it was serious feedback.
Oh, no. Can you imagine?
No.
Okay, so what would our takeaway for that be? Like, I think I have ap accidentally forwarded or even created emails to
Yeah.
the wrong person.
Yeah. I think when we're moving as fast as we are,
Mhm.
there have certainly been, like, you just start typing a B and hit tab because
Yeah.
you're used to Brian being the first B
Mhm.
that's gonna get,
Right.
that's gonna pop up,
Right.
and oh crap, it went to
A customer with the
yeah,
name Brian.
right, right. So I mean, certainly slow down,
Yeah. Double check.
double, triple, quadruple check that
Yeah.
what you're sending is really going to who it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And those Microsoft Outlook people out there, like when you're engineering, can you not do the autofill? Like that is one thing that I just like you said, we're moving fast.
Yeah.
There's some very unique names that I know I could never mess up, but then when you get into like the Sallys, the Sarahs, the Michelles, when there's 35 Michelles at a company,
Yeah.
that's it's risky,
Hmm.
so that's a great one. So kind of in line with that, what about sending a Zoom invite to the wrong people? So this scenario is an EA accidentally sent the executive's highly confidential strategy meeting Zoom link to the entire department instead of just the leadership team. Ouch. Employees started popping in, just realizing it was a private discussion.
I mean, talk about, maybe for some, like, this was the meeting they've been waiting for to get invited to.
Now this is the tea, is what they're thinking.
Like, I've
Yes,
finally made it.
yes, and I think a call out for this would be that is where a waiting room is extremely helpful because you can control who comes in and joins the meeting. Don't default to an open meeting invite, even if you think you have everybody correct,
Yeah.
like, admit them one by one.
Yeah, well, and also, even if you were to quickly just cancel that meeting,
Mhm,
you have to rely on the receiver to
mhm.
literally remove it
Yes,
from the calendar,
yes.
because you know it will still show,
Mhm,
that tentative, or it's kind of blurred out a little bit or
mhm.
whatever. So just because you canceled it doesn't mean that that link is gone.
Yep.
They can try to get in, and obviously the meeting's
Sure.
canceled and you did a new Zoom.
Right.
But for other meetings that maybe you didn't do a Zoom,
Yep.
they could still have whatever information that you had
Mhm.
on that calendar invite.
Yep.
So another word to the wise is, be be mindful what you're sticking in the
Yes.
actual calendar invite.
Yes, because I think some people love pre-reads to be included in the invite as it comes. So
Yeah, like adding it as an attachment
yeah,
or
and even
absolutely.
being sure, that's another great idea. Um, what about attaching the wrong thing? Like you're writing a resignation letter and you accidentally attach that to a Zoom invite instead of
Yeah.
an agenda for the meeting. Like you know that could happen.
Yeah.
Maybe you just had the resignation letter open in Word. You thought that it was a different Word
Yeah.
document. Like,
Yeah, we've all been there
oh,
for sure.
100%. Yes.
All right, so here's a scenario. While venting about an awkward client conversation, an EA mentioned confidential project delays to a barista while waiting in line.
Mm-mm-mm. That's why you make coffee at home, honey.
Yeah, talk about a spicy chai latte.
Right. Extra spice.
Yeah. The barista happened to know a client's assistant who called their boss.
Oh,
I mean,
gosh.
you never know, and the world is so small.
Agreed. That's why you know the room.
Yeah.
Just start talking about things because, like I said, inadvertently, somebody can overhear that who knows somebody who knows somebody.
Yeah. It's
I
just
mean,
not worth it.
no,
And
contrary to what anybody tells you,
yeah,
it's a small world.
it's a small world. And, we also don't want to deter you from ever communicating in life again.
Yes.
But, specifically
Yeah.
on confidentiality
Yeah.
and, being mindful of the work that you do.
Mhm.
And it's just one of those things that you just have to be aware of.
Yeah, and I know some people out there, another scenario would be, like a WhatsApp whoopsie, because I know some leaders, especially if you have an international team, WhatsApp can be very
Mm-hmm.
beneficial because it
Yeah.
does reduce cost for international, calls and texting, but the scenario is an EA created a group chat with leadership to discuss sensitive company plans, but accidentally added a former employee.
Uh-oh.
And the not so funny twist is that the ex-employee started dropping emojis and memes in the chat, totally derailing the entire conversation.
Well, I mean, at least they were trying to be fun.
Yeah, plus not to mention, like, if it's a sensitive company plan, like, you could be sharing trade secrets.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely,
So
you should probably not be doing that
yeah,
on apps, but, there's companies of all sizes and who knows what technology they're using these days.
that's exactly right. So I think in closing, just remember, confidentiality isn't optional, it's the price of admission. Is that correct?
Yeah, and, this isn't Vegas.
No.
So, what happens in the C-suite needs to stay in the
Yes.
C-suite.
Yes, if you wanna keep a job at
Y
least.
For sure.
So thanks for listening. Don't forget to rate, review, like, share, all the things, this episode with your favorite friends. Tell them about the podcast. And, maybe you know somebody who needs this reminder most. Maybe
Mhm.
just share it with them as a gentle nudge. But, until next time, stay busy, stay batty, and keep it zipped.
See you later.
Bye. That's it for us today, bringing order to corporate chaos.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that follow button.
Yours truly, Melissa,
And Michelle,
the
the
Busy
Busy
Baddies.
Baddies.